I have been traveling around the country for some time now, speaking with youth, teens, adults, veterans, police officers, firefighters, emergency medical technicians, parents, and more. Through many thousands of conversations, interventions, and coachings, I have noticed that hiding behind a vast many of the issues brought to me is the issue of confidence. I've heard from those recovering from substance abuse that, I was doing really great until I was hanging out with my friends and they broke a blunt out. I just couldn't tell them I wasn't going to party anymore. I've heard from those working to lose weight when they tell me how good they were following their plan until they were with friends who ordered pizza. They would tell me that I just couldn't find a way to tell them I was going to order a chicken breast or a salad. I've talked with thousands of kids who have been bullied, and I've also talked to many kids who bully others. And behind what they all tell me is the same issue of I need people to like me. What do you think the word esteem means? Some of the more common definitions I've heard throughout my work are what I think when I look in the mirror. It's about how I look. And am I successful? In school, we aren't taught that esteem really means how much I like myself. Confidence and self-esteem go hand in hand. When we say I hold that person in high esteem, we mean that we value that person. We like them. Your self-esteem is how much you like yourself, and until you get a hold of this, confidence will continue to elude you. How much do you value yourself? You are extremely valuable, even if you have not recognized it or learned the details of it yet. Often, we tend to define ourselves by our circumstances. If only things were different, I could feel different about myself. You hear this all the time when people talk about their financial situation. When we make $10 an hour, we talk about how much more fulfilling our life would be if we made $20 an hour. When we make $75,000 a year, we talk about how much happier we would be with ourselves if we made $100,000 a year. If we make $500,000 a year, we talk about how much more satisfied we would be if we made $1 million a year. You may do the same thing when looking at a celebrity. If I had their life, their money, their fame, the adoration of millions of people, my life would be so much more valuable. Traveling and speaking as I do, I've had the opportunity to meet and speak with many celebrities. Surprising to many people is the fact that many of them struggle with self-esteem, confidence, depression, and anxiety. If a celebrity life is so perfect, have you ever questioned why we lost so many to suicide? In the last few months alone, we've lost Mark Salling, Vern Troyer, Kate Spade, Anthony Bourdain, Keith Flint, John Coughlin, and Brody Stevens all to suicide. People who appear to have everything often don't have the one thing they need most: high self-esteem. So how does this show up in our lives? Maybe you have great ideas at work, but you just don't have the confidence to speak up, to share what you have to offer, and that results in a lack of promotion or an improved assignment. Maybe you aren't landing that job that you're perfectly designed to succeed in because you can't pitch yourself or impress in the interview process. Maybe your career in sales is struggling, and it has nothing to do with your knowledge of the product or your passion and faith in the product, but rather your inability to have the confidence in yourself during the sale. Maybe you're lonely and unsure as to why you aren't attracting the type of person you want to share your life with. Maybe it shows up in your appearance or your health when you don't go to the gym or watch what you eat because you don't feel like you deserve to have the body or health that you envision a successful person has. When you start to value yourself, improve your self-esteem, things will begin to fall into place. For years, I would have argued that I had a high self-esteem. I was successful, I had a large income, I had friends around me who looked up to me. I liked myself. Over time, though, I began to watch, then analyze another person, my wife. At the time, my wife was a stay-at-home mother to our children, and she also worked part-time in the retail industry. She wasn't accomplished in any type of career that society covets. Her income was small and her financial survival was heavily dependent on her spouse. She received no accolades or praise for the work she did at home or at work. She had no fans or followers idolizing her. She didn't have hordes of friends, but rather she had a small, tight group of friends. And yet she was happy and content in a way that I just couldn't begin to understand. You see, my wife understood her value. She recognized her own worth, and through that, she created her own priorities. Working tirelessly every day to be the exact mom each of her children needed at that time was critical. Doing her absolute best each day, she worked in retail, regardless of lack of title or prestige, because it was the right thing to do. Understanding her value and the importance of her work so that she didn't require accolades or praise. Focusing on building strong, personal, and important friendships instead of trying to garner the largest, yet superficial friend group. She was happy with herself, and because of that, her circumstances could not define her. I, on the other hand, was successful professionally, but I was never happy. There was always another promotion to chase, there was another title to be gained, another raise to be earned. No matter how high I went, it wouldn't be enough. I had a plethora of friends, but on closer inspection, I found that I had a whole lot of acquaintances who either found personal gain being near me or thought I was fun, but there was not true and deep friendship involved. I was loud, pushy, and arrogant. I was always trying to hide my insecurity that people would find out my confidence was faked. My self-esteem wasn't nearly as high as I would claim. So what does it look like for you? I want you to imagine right now, if you really liked yourself, if you valued who you are, how different would your life be? Close your eyes for a second. Imagine if you liked you, if you fully recognize that you are great, how different would your life be? When you think about those things that you're good at, how do you feel about yourself? We try so hard to make people like us. There's something inside of us that's screaming out, please like me. That behavior, though, doesn't make people like us. Unfortunately, we tend to align that, if people like us, with, hey, we're okay. I see it all the time when people are dating. They're putting so much work into trying to make sure the other person likes them. In the end, though, that just doesn't work. What does work, though, is if we're able to be secure in the fact that we like ourselves. And then we can have that mantra that, hey, I like me. And if you like me too, that's great. And if you don't, that's okay. I can live with that too. Being comfortable in our own skin, being satisfied despite our circumstances. The evidence would tell us this is extremely elusive. Most of us believe happiness comes from having what we want. This isn't true, though. Oftentimes we get exactly what we want, and we still find that we're unhappy. So if happiness and satisfaction doesn't come from what we want, where does it come from? Steve D'Annunzio wrote a book called The Prosperity Paradigm. And in it he talks about the have-do-be versus the be-do-have. The have-do-be is the mindset that I have something, then I would do something, and because of that, I would be happy. For example, if I had money, then I would donate to my favorite charity. And because I have money and because I donate, I would be happy. Contrary to this is the be-do-have model, in which you choose to be happy. Because you are happy, you find the money to donate what you can, which in the end will result in having money. This is entirely different to what we're conditioned to believe in our society. If our satisfaction, our self-esteem, our personal value is not determined by our circumstances or by having what we want, then what is it determined by? You. Happiness is a choice. There is nothing in life that means anything until we attach a meaning to it. You see this in action when different people experience the same situation, yet they experience it differently. One child grows up with loving parents in a complete poverty and is completely unhappy and even angry with their circumstances. Another child grows up with loving parents, also in complete poverty, and yet they're completely happy and satisfied with what they have. It doesn't mean they don't want to improve their circumstances, but while working to do so, they choose to be happy. See, they attached a different meaning to what is going on in their life. Do you come out of a bad experience as a victim with lower self-esteem, scared and with thoughts that life just isn't fair? Or do you come out of the same bad experience empowered with the knowledge that you gained from that experience, knowing that it's going to allow you to make different choices moving forward to create more value in your own life, along with being of value in the life of others? Let me offer you 2 things to focus on to really impact your self-esteem. These will allow you to have phenomenal confidence. 1, quit judging yourself. Understand, no one else should be judging you. The only person who is judging you is you. If you have a person in your life who is doing that, who is judging you, then guess what? They aren't happy. Because critical people have the most criticism of themselves, really. But what they do is they express it outwards at others in a way to find satisfaction in others' failures. Happy people, they love to see others succeed. They love to see others have a great time. They love to see others who are comfortable with themselves. Second, be nice to yourself. Give yourself some praise. You see, there isn't a much quicker way to raise self-esteem than through praise, and giving it to yourself isn't self-indulgent. It's medicinal. Getting praise from outside sources is also great, but many times we have to consider whether there's an agenda attached to the praise. When I had a boss that used to come and tell me how amazing I was at creating some reports, and that no one else could do it as well as me, I knew there was an agenda. He would be getting ready to tell me I had to work the weekend because some more reports were needed. When my son would come tell me how amazing my skills were at repairing cars and how impressive my patience was, I knew there was an agenda. Typically, it would mean his car was having a problem and he needed my help in repairing it. That praise is still nice, but the effect is greatly diminished based on the purpose of giving it. When I work hard at creating a new program to roll out to our nation's youth focused on reducing suicide, and I inspect my completed work, I can feel satisfied in the work that I've done. I can take a moment to praise myself. There's no ulterior motive behind it. I'm just telling myself, hey, great job. What you tell yourself, your mind is going to accept and let in. If you tell yourself you're confident, you're strong, you're happy, your mind will accept that and let it in. Unfortunately, if you tell yourself that you aren't good at your job, if you tell yourself that you're not attractive, if you tell yourself that you're not worthy, your mind will also accept that and let it in instead. Your mind doesn't care if what you say is right or wrong, good or bad, healthy or unhealthy. Don't believe me? Let me prove it. Put your hand in front of your face, relax, close your eyes. I want you to imagine that you have a half of a big, fat, juicy lemon in your hand. Go ahead, breathe in that amazing lemon smell. Go ahead and just squeeze it a little. Feel that wonderful lemon texture. Feel some of that lemon juice as it drips down onto your fingers. Nothing quite smells and feels like a lemon. Still believing that you have that half a lemon in your hand, open your mouth and shove that lemon in there a little. Cram that half a lemon into your mouth. Start chewing it. Go ahead and just suck down that juice. Keep biting and chewing. Swallow that juicy lemon down. Okay, open your eyes. What you will notice is that your body responded to a thought as though it was an actual fact. Your body responded to your image of eating a lemon as though you were actually eating one. It'll make you start making saliva and feeling it. See, thoughts are real. Every thought you have has a physical reaction and an emotional response. I don't have friends. I can't talk to people. I'm unattractive. No one can love me. My life is not worth it living. Your mind will accept those as fact if you're saying them to yourself. But instead, when you say, oh, I can talk to anyone, I am a warm and friendly person, people like me, I am valuable and worthy of being loved, my life is great, and I won't let my circumstances define me. Your mind accepts those too, and the benefit to yourself is much greater. I've used that example in multiple speeches and in personal coaching sessions and have gotten feedback from many people who now keep a lemon on their desk or in a cup holder of their car just to remind themselves every day that they are responsible for what they are thinking and feeling. What you tell yourself, that is what you will become. The decision is yours. You have the power. Your circumstances don't define you. You define you. Start to follow these 2 steps, and I promise you, your life will change. If you quit judging yourself and start praising yourself, if you make the decision to be happy and satisfied, you will begin seeing changes within days, and these will continue to grow through months and years. Go out and grow in confidence every day. Believe in yourself. I do.